Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Have you ever noticed how a stressful morning can leave your chest feeling tighter, every breath a little shorter? Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, and today we're asking a direct question. How much of what you feel in your lungs is driven by what's happening in your mind? Joining me is co-host Alara Sky as we examine new data on stress and COPD. Data showing that emotions don't just color your day, they shape your biology.
Thank you, Ethan. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, already tests your stamina, yet research now shows that perceived stress, your personal sense of feeling overwhelmed, can push those challenges even further. We'll walk you through studies revealing that high stress can quadruple the risk of serious flare-ups, ramp up inflammation, and intensify fear of death, especially when breathlessness strikes without warning.
Nearly 300 million people worldwide live with COPD, a condition that gradually narrows your airway. Medications and oxygen often take center stage, but the article we're discussing highlights something else: your mental state. Feeling out of control doesn't just darken your mood. It activates pathways that heighten inflammation, weaken defenses, and set the stage for more severe respiratory events.
A key piece of evidence comes from a study published in Chronic Obstructive Pulmonary Diseases, Journal of the COPD Foundation. Researchers followed 99 former smokers from low-income urban neighborhoods for 6 months, repeatedly measuring stress levels, symptom severity, and markers of inflammation and oxidative damage. Their goal: see exactly how day-to-day emotions translated into physical change.
Participants averaged 66 years of age. More than half were Black and female. Using the perceived stress scale, investigators found that even a 4-point rise, just a modest bump, produced clear declines in quality of life. Breathlessness, coughing, and mucus scores all climbed. Daily activities became harder, and high-stress individuals were more than 4 times as likely to need antibiotics, steroids, or hospitalization within a year.
Severity mattered. Among those with more advanced COPD, every uptick in stress magnified breathlessness, coughing, and mucus, and pushed quality-of-life scores downward in parallel. These patients were already starting from a narrower respiratory reserve, so the extra burden translated into more doctor visits, longer recovery times, and sharper limitations on ordinary tasks like walking to the mailbox.
When researchers looked under the hood, they saw platelets, your blood's clotting cells, becoming unusually active. One inflammatory chemical tied to clotting was 50% higher in the high-stress group. Simultaneously, urine tests showed nearly 60% more oxidative byproducts, signaling that free radicals were eroding lung tissue and hampering oxygen exchange.
This biochemical fingerprint tells us stress is not a vague psychological idea. It is a physical trigger that accelerates lung damage. Sticky platelets, inflamed airways, and free radical injury combine to make breathing tougher, creating a feedback loop that then stresses you further.
A second study, published in a Turkish nursing journal, pushed the conversation into the realm of emotion. Among 132 inpatients, higher stress scores matched higher death anxiety scores. Women, unemployed individuals, and those lacking education about COPD were especially vulnerable, with many describing helplessness when breathlessness hit.
Crucially, people who believed they could control their symptoms, what researchers call self-efficacy, reported less anxiety and fewer complications. Where knowledge was absent, fear filled the gap. Over half of the surveyed patients had never received formal education about their condition, and they were the ones most likely to catastrophize each flare.
Breathlessness itself emerged as a psychological trigger. Feeling like you can't draw air naturally sparks thoughts of suffocation, and the data confirmed that those episodes were closely tied to spikes in death anxiety. In short, the physical symptom and the emotional reaction feed off each other.
All of this evidence converges on a practical question. If stress drives the biology of COPD, what specific actions will shut that driver down? Rather than vague inspiration, the article offers concrete, research-based steps, each tested in real-world settings and chosen for ease of use at home. We'll take them one by one so you can decide which to start today.
First, interrupt the stress loop before it escalates. Set aside 5 minutes twice a day to slow your breath on purpose. Sit quietly, notice each inhale and exhale, and allow them to lengthen. This simple focus signals safety to your nervous system, lowering inflammatory chemistry before it starts a chain reaction.
Second, rebuild confidence in handling symptoms. Keep a notepad and write down 3 things you controlled today, perhaps pacing yourself on a walk or pausing to rest before fatigue set in. Documenting small wins trains your brain to view episodes as manageable rather than catastrophic.
Third, educate yourself. Commit to learning one new fact about COPD each week and record it, whether from your pulmonary rehabilitation notes, trustworthy health articles, or a brief discussion with your clinician. Understanding what's happening inside your body removes space for fear and arms you with early action strategies.
Fourth, track your symptoms with a color-coded system. Green for stable days, yellow for caution, red for urgent concerns. Each morning, note your breathing, cough, mucus, and rest quality. Patterns soon reveal what helps and what worsens symptoms, allowing you to act precisely rather than reactively.
Fifth, make peace with the fear by naming it. Write one sentence that captures the fear, then one sentence about something that grounds you, a pet, a grandchild, or a morning routine. You're not erasing fear, you're balancing it, which returns psychological footing and breaks the stress symptom spiral.
These steps may look simple, yet the studies show they carry real biological weight. By lowering perceived stress, you dampen platelet activation, curb oxidative damage, and reduce the odds of needing emergency care. Equally important, you lift the emotional burden that too often shadows chronic illness.
Let's address a few fast questions. Does stress truly worsen COPD symptoms? Yes. Research links even minor stress increases to more breathlessness and higher hospitalization risk. What happens inside your body? Stress hormones drive inflammation and oxidative damage that make recovery harder. Is death anxiety common? Evidence shows it rises in lockstep with perceived stress, especially among women and those without COPD education.
So what matters most for protecting your lungs from stress-related harm? Focused breathing, consistent symptom tracking, ongoing education, and routines that reinforce your sense of control. Together, these actions cultivate self-efficacy, the strongest psychological buffer identified in current research.
Here's your challenge. Before the day ends, choose one of the 5 steps we outlined. Maybe that 5-minute breathing break or starting a color-coded tracker, and put it into action. Take a moment afterward to notice how your mind and lungs respond. This single concrete move is your first line of defense against stress-driven flare-ups.
Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.